Hello, all viewers. This is Basavaraj Gudnepanavar. I welcome you all to this Bright Side channel. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Prashant Kulkarni. He is a man of multiple dimensions, and he's a visionary. Let's learn more about him. Let's know more about him from himself today. Um, Prashant ji, thanks for
Thank you
coming
so much
to.
for having me here.
Yeah, appreciate you being with us. It's a true pleasure and honor to have you. So, welcome again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just a brief introduction about our guest today. Mr. Prashant Kulkarni is an entrepreneur who has been phenomenal in ideating and executing many food franchises over a decade in India and abroad. He is a co-founder of Andewala, founder and director of Chatter Putter Foods Private Limited, worked as director at Boxo Burger Foods, ConnectFranchise.com, Pick Me Foods and Beverages, and many more food companies and franchises in India and world. He has done a remarkable job in scaling up many businesses in India, and his case studies have been published in Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and many other prestigious universities in the world. He's more importantly a visionary believer in king making rather than just being a king and a motivational speaker. It's a privilege and honor to have Mr. Prashant Kulkarni amongst us today and chat about his endeavors, his struggle, his beliefs and vision for India and youth.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. So Prashantji, a very curious question is, a lot of people, get their dream job in MNC, but it's not easy to quit that job and follow your dream. So what made you, take that, kind of a difficult decision at that moment, like quitting a job in MNC and then chasing your dream?
So fantastic question. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the people who would be watching this video would have the similar crossroads in their careers. They would be feeling whether I should quit the job or go for the dream that they have been seeing daily. My humble suggestion or humble advice would be only go with your gut feeling. I am always a believer of having emotional quotient than having an intelligence quotient. So, for example, if your heart says that your calling is not in the MNC, quit the job and go whatever the hell that you want to do. But if you feel that your calling is more of inclined towards working for an MNC or any big company, or you want to create your own company, my humble suggestion would be only one thing: go with the flow. Believe your gut feeling, because your gut feeling knows everything about you. Because when it comes to your Excel sheets and stuff, it is very easy to manipulate your decision. Add a single zero and your valuation goes 10 times, or add a zero and your entire financial planning goes for a toss or goes for a haywire, right? But at the end of the day, your gut feeling exactly knows what you should be doing. So I always believed in the power of IQ rather than a power of EQ rather than having for IQ. So don't think from the brains, think from the heart, and probably you'll end up choosing the right thing that you would want to do. So again, so I would want to continue on that, because the MNC was my first job, and that was a dream company for everybody to join that company, right? But I thoroughly enjoyed the entire tenure that I've had there. But I believed in my gut feeling. I chose the path that I wanted to go and carry it forward, and connecting the dots backward obviously made sense to me. But eventually, if I've used intelligence there, it was a foolish decision to get the job, because that time in 2008. I guess Lehman Brothers collapsed. So it was a period of Great Depression. I happened to quit the job in 2009. In 2009, people were getting a lot of offer letters, but they were not getting joining letters. So everybody was on the crossroads. Everybody was trying their luck to get into any sort of company, to do whatever they have dreamt of. But eventually, I believed in my gut feeling, and took the path that I've chosen.
Yeah, it's a kind of a very inspirational and it's definitely a motivational story. I mean, when people think of becoming like entrepreneurs, right? I mean, most of them think it's easy if I do something in my own field, right? Like many people are in IT and they think of building their startups because it relates to their career. But in your case, it's, I mean, you ventured into a food industry, right? So, what made you think that food industry is the one which you are inclined to or you need to get into?
So again, it is again a continuation to the first question itself because so again when we plan, so generally what used to happen back then, I don't know what is the scenario now, but back then what used to happen, we used to have this Google searches made, which is the best industry to go in, or which is the best courses which will have multiple options. But that can tell you a generalized answer, but that answer is not made for you. And we as an Indian believes in the power of customization, not in the power of generalization, right? So if at all, if you see that food is a profitable industry, that's why you should get into it. So that's a wrong, reason to get into food industry. But if you feel that you want to make change in the entire industry, you want to add value to whatever it's happening around, then only you should be getting into food industry. For me, I believe that I can do some changes in the food industry. That's why, because for the matter of fact, we do not have any incidences or any experiences or any from my forefathers who have ventured into food industry ever. And I was the first one, the flag bearer, to get into food business. I mean, I obviously had my share of oppositions that you should not be getting into it, whole sort of reasons why I should not be getting into food industry and stuff. But again, if you thought it, if you believed in it, if your heart says it, then jump right away. Don't feel that it's IT industry good or the food industry good or whatever, because the circumstances will come and go. But what your gut feeling says, what your heart says, what your the entire aura that you create as a personality that you get created around it, that will tell you the right way to do it. And then basically that's the answer for every question. Because so this is again one thing that I would want to mention it here, that we try and seek all the answers outside. Basically all the answers are inside only. We always try and find the answers on Google, but Google may not know what Prashant is, right? But Prashant exactly know what Prashant is. So I exactly know what I can do. I exactly know what I cannot do. What I should be doing. So believe that the biggest problem is you do not believe in ourselves, and we only believe in things which Google tells us or the other people tells us to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great insight, right? I mean, seeking answers outside, it's not going to solve much, right? I mean, you have to ask yourself. Yeah, I mean, this is a great insight to know from you. Prashant ji, again, a curious question, right? You just had an idea and you just went for that calling. Did you think the fund or the capital, what you had at that point in time, was an obstacle to achieve what you wanted?
So this is again a fantastic question. I don't want to elaborate on it. Fund cannot be a problem. Fund should not be a problem. Funds will not be a problem. I don't know how to say it multiple times, but fund is never a problem. If your business or your idea or your passion is limited with the funds only, then probably you are not passionate enough to pursue the dream. There are, like I told you, so India is full of stories. Bharat is full of stories. With limited resources, they have built miracles. So when I started this business, I only had 30,000 rupees. So this entire vision, entire dream that I saw, I started off with 30,000 rupees. Like again, coming back to the core, which I believe, that EQ is more important. So 30,000 on a sheet of pen and paper, it would feel foolish of me to quit a job and start business, and that too of Pani Puri. So everything was against me. So everything was, anybody with the right brains would feel that I am eventually out of my mind. Quitting well-paying job. I do not have a huge backup of funds. I do not have a history of food business. I do not have, plans what exactly I'm trying to do. But I know for sure that this is my vision. This is exactly what I would want to do, and I would want to do anything around the street food, Indian street food. That was the only bottom line that I've had, and I jump started it. So fund can never become a problem. The journey eventually. So again, a funny story behind it. So while I was waiting for the cab, you have cabs for to and fro to take you to your office and stuff. So we all have this tila or a tia where we would want to go and enjoy our pani puri. So on one fine day, one of my best luck that I've had that day, I had this pani puri and had fallen ill. So I eventually hospitalized for a couple of days. As I went to the doctor told me that you're educated, you should not be eating roadside pani puri and stuff. Why you do that? You should not be doing that. But then I realized, lying on the bed, I realized one thing, that pani puri is like cigarette. You got to have pani puri, right? It's like and I felt that you may or may not have pizza once a month, but there are very good chances in India and especially in Bharat, wherein you can easily have pani puri twice a week or at least twice a month or thrice a month. So I feel that there is more repeat customer to pani puri than to a product like pizza. So that's where I decided to quit the job and jump start into it. So fund is never a problem. The only problem is convincing yourself. If you're able to convince yourself, there's nothing that can stop you, and there's nothing that should stop you. So just convince yourself. If you are convinced, the world will get convinced automatically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, great to hear from your experience, right? Yeah, that talks volumes on that. Continuing on the same question, right? Since you were not there, like you said, you didn't have any family business in the food industry. What were the major challenges or the roadblocks, and how did you overcome those?
Okay, so this is again fantastic question. I would want to elaborate on this. So, as an entrepreneur or as a first time startup or first time businessman, anybody wants to jump start their own business. If you feel that only couple of years will be tricky and post that your life will be soothing and you would be enjoying and partying in Goa and probably the business will run on its own. So it's not going to happen. So don't start your startup because only because you feel that it's cool to get into a startup. So again, even after spending 10-12 years in the food industry, we get setbacks daily, we have our own challenges daily, but the idea is to keep moving and keep the scoreboard ticking, and that's what can only happen because if you're passionate about it and if your heart says that this is the path that you have chosen. If you have chosen it with your mind, you would have multiple options because you'd be weighing it. Like I'll try and give you an example. For example, you happen to saw a girl and you fall in love with her, right? So if you see emotionally, you would see everything good about it. But if you'll see using your minds or using your brains, you would start weighing all the options. And if you're weighing your options, that's not your true love.
Yeah, yeah.
So your true love, you'll not be weighing around it, right? So for example, your love for food, or your love for your mother, or your love for your family, it's true, right? You don't weigh. You don't choose your family. You don't choose your parents, right? You love them without weighing the options. मेरी मम्मी ऐसी होती तो मेरी wife ऐसी होती तो you don't weigh that, right? My business ऐसा होता तो you don't weigh that, right? So whatever you start weighing around, that's not your true love. So that's not your calling. As a startup, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, you will be facing challenges day in, day out. If somebody says that I've gotten into this industry and it does not have any challenges, it's a false statement. You should not believe that guy. Startup as an entrepreneur. I was delivering a lecture in, I guess, IM or something. So I came up with this definition of what startup is. So somebody from the audience asked me this question that according to you, what startup actually is? So startup for me, so I defined in a different way altogether that time. So startup for me was basically, you're in the late night somewhere, you're in pretty much in a battling field. You're at the center of it, and you have just a sword and a dhal to protect yourself, and you exactly don't know from where the next bhala would come. It will coming from the right or top or bottom or left, right. You don't know, but you just have to stand in there, keep yourself, collected, keep your morals high, keep your visions high, keep your confidence high, and still fight in the night because you've envisioned that there will be a better morning tomorrow. So you know for sure that it's part of the game. You just have to spend a couple of hours more, or maybe you end up getting the brighter side of the sun as well. and this is exactly the channel all about, bright side. If you've been through all the struggles, there would be brighter side of the sun as well. So you just have to keep fighting, keep. So I have had my share of failures, and kept on going, finding the solutions, and assembling the entire team together, keeping the entire team together, and marching towards the vision. That's exactly.
Yep. I mean, yeah, truly inspirational. So speaking of challenges, and especially with this COVID from the last 2.5 years now, and being in the food industry yourself, wearing multiple hats in different areas and your businesses. Um, how did you kind of cope up with this lockdowns and the pressure to sustain the business industry, the food business especially?
So lockdown was probably one of the minuscule issues.
Mhm.
Why? Because this was a global pandemic. This is not something which has happened to only my company or my industry. It was a global pandemic. Most of the industries have suffered because of this. So I believe that this is one of the global problems that everybody has to face. But there have been multiple challenges, much bigger challenges for a startup. Like for example, hiring the right team is one of the biggest challenges. Than the COVID itself, because COVID again, there are things which are in your control, and there are things which you do not have control on, right? So Corona, I do not have any control on it, so I can simply sail around it, right? But there are things which are under my control, and still I was struggling for that. So hiring the right team, getting the product spread across the nation, getting the right mindset, getting the right product, getting the right designing team. So these were the bigger challenges. Corona, I mean, it has happened for everybody. So I believe that obviously it's a global pandemic, it's a global multi-billion-dollar businesses that have suffered, but it is across the globe. This is not something which has happened only to Prashant or its own industry, right? So I believe that COVID has its own share of losses for every industry, including us. But I saw it positively, and we thought of pivoting it. So pre-COVID, we were targeting only the QSRs or the brick and mortar models, but COVID eventually helped us to rethink, find solutions inside ourselves, because we were so busy managing things that we didn't have time to eventually look back what all things we have achieved, what our core areas are, and COVID was the perfect timing for us. In fact, COVID was one of the best time that I've ever had, because we got time to think on our business model. We got time to pivot ourselves. We launched our cloud kitchen model. We are helping multiple restaurants across India now. The cloud kitchen model is doing phenomenally well for us. The brick and mortar model has really bounced back really well. So now we are getting inquiries from the cloud kitchen fraternity, as well as we are getting a lot of inquiries from the QSR and the brick and mortar businesses as well. Eventually, we have helped multiple businesses post Corona, because now their challenges were real. Before that, COVID was basically one of the correction time for us, because pre-corona, what used to happen, anybody and everybody would think, buy a bhatti or buy a gas station and you can start a food business. But corona eventually, removed all the clutter from the business. Now eventually all the people who are actually interested in getting into food industry, or want to were passionate about the food industry, survived. Rest everything else wiped out. So this was eventually a good thing which has happened due to corona, and I see the bright side of everything. So this was one thing that has really helped us.
I mean, this is an excellent example, right? Like how you can pivot your businesses when you're really passionate on doing it. Yeah, just talking more about this entrepreneurial mindset, right? I mean, do you think, looking back at your childhood days, or when you got educated, if there is something as part of the educational system that you learned might have empowered you better as an entrepreneur? You are an extraordinary case, right? But for many of us, like, who choose a standard path of studies, career, do you think there should be something in the educational system that can help us boost our outlook maybe like maybe more financial education in the curriculum, or something which sparks that thought that just the the conventional, the engineering or medical, these are not the only careers, but you can always choose your passion and make it work. Do you think anything can be done?
So I have probably a couple or maybe three answers to that. Number one, anybody who is really passionate about it would eventually do it. So if at all you are finding the right, you know, let me rephrase myself. So for example, if you plant or if you sow 10 seeds, right? Every seed may have the same weather, but eventually out of 10, only seven would germinate and three would not, right?
Yes.
So why these three are not getting germinated? They have been the same. They are coming from the same quality of the seed. They are from the same. They have been through the same atmosphere around, same watering, same sunlight, everything. But then to only seven would survive and three would not germinate. So this is one thing. So situations are same for everybody. If you're really made, or if you really go for your calling, then nothing that will stop you. So obviously you will germinate. Number one. Number two, there have been multiple incidences, so this is one of my very very so this particular statement I use this very often in multiple of my discussions or multiple of my speaker sessions that I get. So talent is 50% of what it is required. The remaining 50% is discipline. The world is full of people. The world is full of talented people, but only the people who are talented as well as disciplined would only create the top layer of it. So talent may not only help you, but your discipline would. And if you're eventually disciplined and you may not even eventually have the talent, then too there are very good chances of you surviving than your competition. So this is again the second answer to it. And number three, if at all we have to forcefully program your students' mind that this is what it is, or as media has really helped us, the startup fraternity is growing really drastically. Back then, when I eventually started off, there was no startup as a term, right? So everybody used to say, if you're not getting a job, do a business. So business were only for those people who are not getting jobs. So it was not as glamorized as it is today. So startup and now is only MacBook Pros and iPhones around, but and bean bags. But back then it was not. It was struggle. So we have been through the hard times as well. So we know the value of, or we know the core that we have built and we have developed. We know the core of it. My kind of startup or my businesses that we have done, or my generation that has entered into business, they exactly know that business is not only about valuation, it is more about value. My generation of the business understands that it is not building the Excel sheet, but it is building excellence in the people around, right? So there's an entire how should I, so entire generation or entire phase or entire hierarchy of people which are entirely different. So no matter how much spoon feed we do from the bottom of the pyramid or the topmost of the pyramid, eventually it has to be in the core of a human personality. And when I say entrepreneurship, I do not necessarily mean that everybody should start businesses and quit their jobs. Entrepreneurship is more of a mindset. Entrepreneurship is not a tagline or a designation only. Entrepreneurship is more of a mindset. Even if you're working for an MNC and you're putting your entrepreneurial mindset into it, you're not looking at the clock, you're bringing new ideas to the table, you have a frugal mindset behind it, then too you're an entrepreneur. So my entire team, anybody who's on my payroll, I may call them my employee, but they are all my entrepreneurs. Why? Because these guys have ownership imbibed in them. So whatever projects that we do, whatever business that we do, whatever projects that we throw across them, they would do it and they would take it as an ownership. They would believe that it's their own project and they would use their frugal mindset while implementing that project. And this is exactly what I imbibe in them and try and imbibe in them. Because it's not 9 to 5 kind of a job, food industry or for that matter any industry, because the world is having a cutthroat competition. We have to be thinking much faster, much better. And if at all, if you put that in a KRA that you have to think faster, or their KPI is to beat the world. It does not work this way, right? So you have to imbibe the values. They see me working day in day out. They see me going across the table, meet them. So they see me going across that mile and try and achieve those things. So this is basically monkey see and monkey do kind of an approach that we all basically walking the talk. I'm so sorry. I mean, I've covered a lot of things in that.
No, I mean, you gave a lot of insights, right? I mean, especially the point wherein you said, even employees, they should think as entrepreneurs. I mean, that is a interesting insight, and yeah, that really helps. Talking on the same lines, what is your advice for the youth?
Mhm. So coming back to the same or taking from the same statement that you've chosen, so everybody cannot be an entrepreneur. Similarly, everybody should not become an employee. So, for example, because of this entire glamorization of the word startup, valuation, entrepreneurship, everybody feels that they should quit the job and my calling is I would want to work from the mountains, I would want to work from the beaches. I have an idea and I would want to create a multi-billion-dollar business, right? So, think again. I mean, just for the sake of glamorization part of it, or because it is too cool to be a startup or call yourself startup, don't jump into it. Employee, if you can think frugal as working for somebody else also, that also matters, right? At the end of the day, the whole ecosystem is binded, or it's more of so employees cannot work without employment, and similarly, if the employer cannot hire the right team, he cannot grow. So we have to create a perfect balance between the two. So while we say that entrepreneurship is cool or I am an entrepreneur, I do not anyway want to degrade the word employee, because employee is very much essential for the entire ecosystem, because the big companies, Zomatos, cannot be built by a single Dipinder Goyal, or for that matter my entire industry or so for example, food industry is one of the highest employers that we have we create, right? So we cannot work without the team, right? So the team is equally important than this. So coming back to your statement, Marvin, what is my advice? So my advice is very simple. If you have thought about it, if your calling is, you should start your business. Don't waste your time creating Excel sheets. Jump. Don't wait for the first product. So for example, if you're not ashamed of your first launch, then probably you have taken too much of time. You should all be ashamed of your first launch. We should all feel that this is not the right product. There are a lot of changes to be done. If you're waiting for the right product, right market, right team, right pricing, right strategy, right marketing, right PR, it's never going to happen. So my advice is go, jump, do it. Even if you fail, you always have a time to come back. But even if you think, so after 40, 50s or 60s, if you feel that, gosh, I would have done that or been there, or I would have achieved my dream. So there's no cash in the game, right? There's no cash in your life. There's no what if in your life, right? So if you feel that you want to take your chances, do it right away. Don't wait for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years to think. What all possibilities you have. If you want to get into it, jump it right away. And if you don't want to jump it, don't even think on that. Just shut that box away out of your mind and focus on your job. Otherwise, what's happening? You're trying to sail on two different boats. You're not giving 100% to what you're doing currently. Now you're doing 100% to what you want to achieve, right? So it's waste of your time. So again, when I quit Infosys, my statement was very one thing that even if you're on the edge, you're taking too much of space. Don't stand on the edge. Either you're on this side or you're on that side. Don't try and be on the edge. You don't want to weigh your options. Weigh your options always.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very helpful advice for the youth. I mean, you spoke at length on how what youth can do and being more decisive in this space. So
Again, decisive is a fantastic word, because as an entrepreneur, as a startup, as a businessman, your only job is to take decisions. This the right team? Is this the right pricing? Is this the right design? This is the right product? Is this the right market? And if you're failing to the core of it, failing to take the decision whether to jump a startup or no, probably you're not the right guy to get into a startup in the first place itself. I mean, decisive. I mean, this particular came along while you use the word decisive.
Yeah. And yes, and you also mentioned about the team, right? So, speaking of which, how important do you think the connections are in these days to expand your business, right?
Correct. So connections and team. So I would see it as two different segments altogether. One is internal team and one is external team. Internal team is basically who's sitting in your office and working with the same vision and same goal. This is one thing. You have to keep them motivated always so that we can achieve where exactly we would want to achieve. Number two is external team. External team is, like we are speaking, right? So we are building a network. I know you, you know me. Probably you would know 10 people, I would know 10 people. So how can we connect the dots and bring in synergies? Because you as a person or you as a company is also looking for collaboration. Me as a person, as a startup is also looking for collaboration. And I'm a firm believer of the word collaboration because I mean what if India have multiple all rounders, but why India does not have 11 all rounders working in the team? So they have specialized bowlers, they have specialized batsmen, they have a specialized wicket keeper, and couple of them would become or would be all rounders. Why that? So before getting into startup, I would also always think, many of the viewers would also feel that, if there's a possibility of having all rounders, why are we not having all the playing 11 as all rounders? What beautiful thing it would be to have. Everybody can bowl, everybody can bat, everybody can do wicket keeping, and probably your 12th man and 13th man is also an all rounder. So whosoever, and everybody becomes easily replaceable, and there would not be any failures. Everybody would win. But while getting into startup, while getting into this thing, I understood the power of collaboration. I understood the power of being a subject matter expert. For example, I have built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you are trying to build 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So we should collaborate so that we both can have 1 to 10 as a journey, right? So this eventually would make more sense. Number one. Number two, again, team internal team can be divided in two different versions. Number one is basically people who you are paying. Number two, people who you are onboarding as a partner. So this particular statement is very interesting, which I've listened or heard or read in a book or somewhere, which says that if you are 100% owner of a cake, and if given an opportunity, would you become a part of a cake factory? So now today, for example, your startup is at an ideation stage. So let's say you own 100% of a cake. Try and add more partners so that your cake has more value. As in how your value of the cake increases, probably there is some point in time it makes more sense to own a piece of a cake factory rather than owning entire cake. So this is again very important thing where when somebody wants to start a business, they would feel I am 100% owner. I would want to create a visiting card says I am a founder, I am a director, I am a co-founder, or I do not want any co-founder. I do not want to invest in the team. For example, I would want you as my founder, right? So I would try and negotiate. No, 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 I'll not give you a co-founder designation. I'll not give you a percentage on the equity. Probably I'll keep you only on salary. But what if I'll try and keep 100% of it. But what if even if I gave you 10%, you're also working for that 10%. I'm also working for my 90%. So that eventually we are trying to build the bigger vision. We are trying to build a bigger company. We are trying to create the entire ecosystem around it. So don't try and be courageous or be wholeheartedly try and spread the word, bring in the right team so that you eventually you create a team which can win you World Cup. So this is the entire probably statement that we want to comment on team section.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of lessons, right? I mean, there are a lot of experience speaking here. I mean, as I can hear it on multiple topics, right? Um, just real quick on this, you spoke about, your advice to youth. What are your upcoming initiatives or the plans, to help the youth to become more successful entrepreneurs?
So what I've felt is probably people do not want. So these days, there are a lot of consultants who have popped up. So now what these consultants would do, they may or may not have played cricket in their entire life, but they are trying to be a coach. So this is the probably the worst thing that can happen to anybody, because right team, right mentor, right timing is also important. So if you don't have the right mentor in your life, probably there are very good chances you may not succeed, right? So having the right mentor, or either you have a right mentor or don't have a mentor at all. But if you have a wrong mentor, that's the bigger problem. So now I am on the mission to help 10,000 startups across tier 2 cities in India. So my target is to create and startup ecosystem in tier 2 cities of India, because I believe that, so there are 97 tier 2 cities in India. And I believe that if at all we want to make a change in entire India, so that the change in India will not start from India, it will eventually start from Bharat. Bharat is the tier 2 city. Major employment is happening in tier 2 cities, major developments, because we have the hunger. So basically, I am from Indore, I am from tier 2 city, right? So we have the hunger. We always are being marked or compared from tier 1 cities. So while in initial days, I used to get offers. So we would want to invest in your company only if you would want to shift your base to Mumbai, or you would want to shift your base to Delhi. I said I do not want funds, but I would want to build this entire company from Indore, because there are multiple benefits of having built this company here. So I believe the power of Bharat. I believe in the power of tier 2 cities, and I also believed one thing, that we may not require 100 unicorns, but we require 10,000 startups who are doing 10 crore business each. That will eventually help Bharat bounce back faster, or eventually. So my mission is not to help one or two startup. My mission, my vision is to bring the change in the entire GDP of the country. I'm not thinking small. I'm thinking really big this time. I'm not focusing on increasing a couple of crores in somebody's pocket. My vision is to increase the GDP of the country. Now, increase the GDP of the country cannot happen by individual Prashant. We would want more Prashants to collaborate and think of creating multi-crore business, and eventually, creating. So whenever, let's say there is a 10,000 or 10,000, sorry, 10 crore odd company, there would be multiple employees. He would be using multiple startups. He would be requiring multiple collaboration. He would be requiring multiple services around. So imagine these 10,000 startups would eventually create smaller startups around. So ancillary startups would also eventually help. So my mission is to create 10,000 startups across India, especially Bharat, and help them to reach 10,000 crore, 10 crore business each, so that we eventually change the entire dynamic. We would want to bring the change in the GDP of the country.
I think this is the best thing I've ever heard in recent times, right? I mean, because this is a great vision, right? Beyond what we are doing, I mean, as a business, having a vision for the country, and having such a big vision in itself speaks volumes about you.
So there's this fantastic quote from this movie Raji. Raji, if you've seen this movie, it says, "देश से पहले कुछ भी नहीं, मैं भी नहीं." So country always comes first. So, if you check my LinkedIn, it is Prashant_Kulkarni_Indian. If you'll check my Instagram, it is Prashant_Kulkarni_Indian. Because I believe I'm a proud Indian. So I believe, and the entire, food industry, or the brand that I own, run and operate, Chatter Putter. This is again proudly Indian brand, because it is focused towards the Indian street food. So we are the first. So in the midst of all the pizzas and burgers, there was no Indian, street food which was doing. So I thought, let's try and compete in their own game. So we have created a QSR model around the charts, and now we are expanding length and breadth of the country, and now globally as well. So we are opening up in Canada, we are opening up in Iraq, we are opening up in Nepal, and many more countries to follow. So now the Indian street food, and that's why the name also Chatter Putter. We would want to promote it as an Indian brand. I do not want to have a English name and selling an Indian street food. So that's why the name Chatter Putter, which is more Indianized, which gives you a feeling about the best thing about India, right? So Indian street food. So that's why it is. So Prashant_Kulkarni_Indian. So I'm a proud Indian.
And it's very like, even we feel proud to have you, right, with speaking about India country, and promoting Indian brands.
And this is also very interesting because you are in states and you are again thinking back towards the country. This is the feelings are mutual, and that's why I've agreed to be on this session, because you are also thinking about your own country. You're also thinking about tier 2 cities. You're also thinking about the region that you have, which has given you everything. So you are again looking back, seeing things. You also want to bring changes in multiple things. So we resonate on many things there, many ideas there.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I mean, we are humbled by your, recognition for our efforts too. I mean, this is where I wanted to tell our viewers as well, right? When we speak about Prashant Kulkarni, we said, he's not just a king, but he's a kingmaker. So your vision resonates that, I mean, your work, which you're doing from past decade or so, like, and when you want to bring more entrepreneurs in India, I mean, that we felt as a really distinguishing and a greater vision. Um, and I mean, you have been inspiration, right? I mean, we have heard you speak to at various forums as well, and you have been an inspiration to many people. But who is your inspiration?
So my inspiration, there are two people basically I get inspiration from. Number one is Dhirubhai Ambani. So probably from 10th only, I have kept this calendar. So Reliance, all the shareholders get Reliance ka calendar. So every whenever the new year comes, they would get a Reliance calendar at their table calendar. If you remember that, wo fold hota hai, and that table calendar that we get, right? So there's this friend of mine whose father happens to be the shareholder of this company, and I was so fascinated by Dhirubhai Ambani that wherever he used to get the calendar, and every year the picture of Dhirubhai Ambani would change from the calendars. So I would collect these pictures back then and would store it and would show it as a collection, or probably paste it behind my wall and stuff. So this is where I get a lot of inspiration from, because from a very humble beginning, if at all he can bring changes in so many people's life. Imagine probably you and me are at much better stage when he had started, right? Now we have a power of, I'm not talking about monetary wise, I'm talking about technology, I'm talking about exposure that we are having. Probably he may not have that kind of exposure that we are enjoying, right? So exposure, education, with the limited means also, he happened to build one of the biggest empire in the country which is seen today, right? And this is, so we have seen cases, his forefathers were rich and stuff. So these stories are always there. These are also inspiring. But coming from a humble background with no background itself, and then bringing from scratch and beginning from the scratch, and end up creating one of the largest companies in the world today, it's phenomenal. And second one is Manjhi, Dashrath Manjhi. I don't know, many of us knew about this guy, but Dashrath Manjhi. So there's this movie also, Manjhi, by the name of the Manjhi, the Mountain Man. You can Google it, Manjhi. So Manjhi is a fantastic story. Probably exactly like walking the talk, go with the flow, or talking about EQ more than IQ. So for those who don't know about Dashrath Manjhi, he's the guy who has using a cheni and a hatoda, paved the way out of a mountain. He basically it took 22 years of him to basically pave the way out of mountain. He and single-handedly did that. So this is again the power of perception, power of perseverance, power of persistence, passion, EQ. Why? Because anybody with the brains would say you cannot do that. Paving the way out of a mountain using only a hatoda or a cheni is not possible. It's humanly impossible to do that, right? Anybody with the brains, anybody with the right brains would say that, but he was thinking from his heart, and he eventually paved the way out and end up creating the history. That entire road is named after him now. We celebrate him. Obviously, he's seen his own struggles in the life, but he believed in his calling, he believed in his EQ, and end up achieving what he wanted to achieve. Dhirubhai Ambani, EQ, Dashrath Manjhi, EQ. So that's why I believe that power of EQ is more important than power of IQ.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, great inspirations there, what you mentioned, and the EQ part. You also talked about exposure, right? So, do you think like reading good books today will help in broadening our vision, or are there any books you want to suggest which you think will bring a positive mindset in our people?
So number one, which kind of books? I do not have any idea about it. Why? Because I happen to read anything. So for example, I just go to that library or go to that bookstore. I would end up buying anything. It may or may not resonate with what I am thinking about, right? So I have read books on, let's say, there's this fantastic book called Mahatma versus Gandhi. So now it has nothing to do with business, but it gave me a different perspective altogether. There's another book by it's not about the bike, it's my journey back to life. So there was this biker who got testicle cancer and could not complete Tour de France, and how he recovered from that cancer, and then end up winning couple of Tour de France after that. So fantastic book. Obviously there are a lot of management books, a lot of autobiographies which are there, which are fantastic. But I, as a person, I try and read multiple things. So I have read books on management. I have read books on art. I am a fantastic when it comes to poems. I love poems. I love Hindi poems. I love English poems. In English, it calls poems, but I don't know why we should do it. But poems, as I Indian version of. So as I say that, if there can be a UK version of English, or there can be a US version of English, why cannot we have an Indian version of it? So let's call it poem only. Why to change it, right? So read anything, because you never know what can inspire you. You can draw inspiration from anything and everything. So this is my ancient clock which is ringing. I don't know if you are able to hear it.
I can hear it. Yep. And I mean, we have spoken about different aspects, right? I would want to give you time and speak anything is on your mind, right? To all our viewers, whatever you want to tell our audience. Yep.
So there are two things. Number one, I mean, you can read the books and then implement it, and probably you would see, no, probably that's not the right way to do it, but you would end up losing time on reading the book as well. There are some things which requires proper training and planning and execution, obviously, but there are a lot of things in the world which you cannot read through books or learn through books, like swimming, for example. Or for example, business, so somebody who has written that book on business would have a different exposure, would have a different mindset, would have different capabilities, would have different atmosphere around, would have a different financial condition than yours. So obviously we can draw multiple inspirations or learnings or teachings from that. But I'm more of a person who would love to experiment things. So for example, we fail in a lot of things. Like one of your question also suggested that what all things we failed on. So for example, we failed on creating. So in probably 2011 or 12, we thought of creating unmanned bhel making machine. So bhel is again a snack, mix of mixtures and onions and everything. It's a savory that everybody would enjoy. We thought of creating a machine which is unmanned machine. So with a printer, so like a printer socket, the machine is connected. We have invested on PLC coding. We thought, we will automate the entire function with a click of a button. The machine will dispense bhel and you can pour it. We have invested lakhs and lakhs of rupees in 2011-12, but we failed that time. We eventually went back to that whiteboard a couple of years back, and we eventually built that machine now. We have created unmanned shake dispenser. We have created unmanned beverage dispenser. So, it is not a vending machine. It is actually mixing the product and then dispensing it. For example, if you say bhel, so bhel, there are different mixers. It needs to get mixed with proper chutneys and all the onions and tomatoes that goes into it. It properly mixes it, dispense it, put a spoon around it, and then it's more of like an ATM machine, completely unmanned machine. It's not a dispense. It's not a vending machine. You go select a packet and the packet will fall. It actually has a robotic arms working behind that. In the Pani Puri machine also, we end up implementing a lot of AIs around. So now we have complete unmanned machines of serving Pani Puri also. So don't waste too much of time thinking. If you're thinking too much, that's not the right way to do it. take a decision, jump it. Like we all say that, measure twice, cut once. But if you have cut it once, don't again waste your time in measuring it. This is one of the humblest advice that I would want to give it to anybody, that if you have anything on your mind, jumpstart it. If you need my help, my support anywhere, just ping me on Instagram, ping me on LinkedIn. I'm always there to help you out. And Bright Side, again, with the same mission and vision, wherein we want to generate that entrepreneurship, we want to give them a brighter side of everything. Again, since we are on the same page, so they can come connect with you also, and probably we can collaborate together and try and bring the change that we want to bring the change.
Yep. I mean, it's the same appeal. I just want to echo to all the audience, right? We can again share the links of Prashant Kulkarni's Instagram on other social links. We encourage all the viewers to take advantage and to reach him out. And he set on a vision to, make Bharat great, right? Through his entrepreneurs.
Bharat is already great.
Yeah. to help the youth
Startups.
become successful entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Especially your thought on tier 2 cities, right? So you gave us a lot of insights and a lot of advices, and we are really proud and glad that you are doing what you are doing today.
Thank you
And
so much.
we continue to support you, and we'll look forward to work with you in future, and hope our audience have enjoyed this show. And again, kudos to you and your team and your work so far. Again, really thanks for spending your valuable time with us today. Thank you, Prashantji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
And give my regards to your entire team as well.
Sure, definitely.